IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast. Today it's me, Tejas, and I have Dinkar.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, dog?
It's going very well.
Why, though?
Because I saw a nice movie yesterday.
It's a rare thing that I've come back from a movie which was, okay, here's how epic last night's movie watching was. We watched it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which means I got home by like 10 or 11.
Unheard of, right?
Unheard of. And watched a good movie, tear in my eye, emotions. And had time to chill, play Switch, go to sleep.
The right amount of tear. It wasn't harrowing.
Yeah, it was not harrowing. Yeah.
It was feels.
It was feels. It was everything. And there was time to spare after the end of the movie, which is what I always love. Otherwise, you go for all these late shows and man, yeah, I'm getting old for
But
that.
a good movie-going experience.
Great movie-going experience. Which movie are we talking about today, Dinkar?
Ralph Breaks the Internet. Which, full title, let me tell you, upends convention by being Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2.
However,
It's flipped the game, man. It's not Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet.
This is true, but I think they dropped the Wreck-It Ralph 2 at some point.
Okay, sure.
But still, it originally was titled in previous trailers and stuff like that.
That's amazing. The fact that they could just, as you know, I am a in title aficionado.
Oh, not parentheses?
Parentheses are
It's coming back, I hear.
they're very soon. Parentheses are a close cousin, but colons. I'm a big fan of colons.
You have one. You have a big and small one. This is weird. All right. Let's.
That's an intestine.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, maybe you
They're
have.
connected, but not the same thing.
This is why I do
If they
this
are,
for a
please see
living.
your doctor.
Okay. All right. So we saw Wreck-It Ralph 2, or Ralph Breaks the Internet, and it was a really good film.
Isn't Disney in the middle of like a solid golden run of sorts?
Renaissance, you would say.
A renaissance. I haven't.
Renaissance. Some Renaissance.
They haven't had any misfires in like for as long as I can remember.
Oh, as you say this, I will pull up a list of what they've been up to of late. But something that was really interesting about this film is that it's about 6 years apart from the first.
It's been
part.
6 years.
Yeah,
yes,
it's been
since the
6
previous
years.
Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph came out 6 years ago, and this kind of film doesn't. It kind of waits those 6 years, as in like in terms of continuity. Also, it's been 6 years in the film's continuity,
which is amazing.
Which is interesting. And I think for that reason, but kind of subverts that also, that they decided to kind of not make a continuation exactly of sorts. I mean, you can watch this movie in isolation, you think? Can you?
You can. They do a fairly good job in the first 5 minutes of explaining the premise of the first one.
Yes, that's
which
true.
I shall now do.
Go for it.
Okay. So Wreck-It Ralph is basically set inside the world of arcade games.
Yeah.
So it's a Toy Story situation where
Meets Inside Out.
Yeah, meets Inside Out. So basically, after people are done playing the games at the arcade, the characters come to life and have pretty much regular social lives.
They've already been alive.
They're already alive.
Yeah.
They go and live of their own free will. So in this particular arcade, which is called Litwack's Family Fun Arcade or something like that, one of the games is called Fix-It Felix Jr.
Correct.
Which stars a goody two-shoes type called Fix-It Felix, played by Jack McBrayer.
Yeah, awesome.
And Wreck-It Ralph, who is the villain who comes and wrecks things for Felix to fix.
Correct.
Wow, tongue twisters all around.
I know, yeah.
But so the first movie deals with the fact that Ralph is kind of rebelling against the identity that's been assigned to him by the game. He doesn't want to be seen as a bad guy. He feels like he's hated because he wrecks things, but also he's a good guy at heart.
Yeah, and that's like one of my favorite lines from the first film, where I think it's Zangief from Street Fighter who goes like, just because you are a bad guy doesn't mean you are a bad guy.
Yeah. Which is just a
so
great
good.
line. That's kind of what his character is dealing with in the first movie.
I liked the first movie. So my impression of the entire first film also was just like, that's the theme, right? That's just because you have been, classified or categorically said that this is who you're supposed to be. You can just be whatever you want. And it's a good story.
Exactly. And I kind of like what the movie ends with, which is Ralph doesn't suddenly become a hero of sorts, and he doesn't go like, all right, I don't need to be Wreck-It Ralph anymore.
Yeah.
Instead, he meets a young girl called Vanellope von Schweetz,
Yeah.
who lives in a game called Sugar Rush.
Yes, it's a racing Candy Crush type racing
a Candy
game.
Crush racing game of sorts. And they kind of bond and develop a relationship. Vanellope is a racer who also suffers from a glitch. So occasionally while talking, she'll just like freak out and kind of turn into pixels for a second.
Yeah.
So it's kind of about him helping her achieve her goal, which
Yes.
is to become a racer in Sugar Rush.
In Sugar Rush, yeah.
And she has like various issues and stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's able to stop thinking about himself and help others
Yeah.
is what makes him realize that he's a good guy.
Yeah. And
Again, one of my favorite lines is when he says,
Yeah.
I know I'm a bad
Bad
guy,
guy.
but if Vanellope likes me,
yeah.
how much of a bad guy can I be?
Yeah. How bad does that make me? Yeah,
Sometimes bad guy
Yeah.
does not have to be bad guy.
That's the best line. Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Yeah, so that was the first movie. It was really
It was
nice.
good. Yeah. There's some feels.
Yeah,
Some feels.
great feels and great performances.
Man.
Like John C.
John
Reilly
C.
and
Reilly,
Sarah
dude.
Silverman.
Man.
Who, like, they don't. So typically, you see people like big name cast kind of like go into the character and stuff. John C. Reilly pretty much plays it like himself. Like you hear the voice and you're like, that's John C.
It's
Reilly.
absolutely only Sarah Silverman is obviously putting on that like she's playing
bit
like
of
a
a
baby,
kiddish
like a
thing,
very
yeah.
kid, but which is perfect. It's like perfect for the role.
Yeah, I mean, she does that fairly frequently in real
her
life as
stand up
well.
also. Yeah. But yeah, so John C. Reilly is effectively just playing his share. But the character of Wreck-It Ralph, honestly, has become like one of my favorites in cinema. Like especially after this movie, which I think takes the entire story of Wreck-It Ralph and makes it like 10 times more powerful. His character is like easily one of the most adorable, and I don't say that lightly. It's very easy to take like Vanellope or any cute character from a film and say, oh, that's very adorable. But this guy's like actually like a good, nice dude.
Yeah.
And he's just like really like you feel bad for him when he feels sad. When he's happy, you feel happy. So it's one of the most well written characters I've seen in this movie. And you know what I really liked about Ralph Breaks the Internet is that they've changed the setting, but the story is still about Ralph and Vanellope, and it's just about their friendship, and that's it. They've not like made it about somebody else, which is like an error that say Cars 2 did, or
they bring in new characters.
Exactly. They kind of deepened the relationship between these two, and that's about it. There's also no villain in this movie. There's no
Not
antagonist
really. Yeah,
in the
there's
film.
no outright evil person.
Yeah, there's like in the first movie, there's like Turbo, who's again played by Alan Tudyk in that as well. But in this movie, there's no main antagonist, which is kind of rare for a
Not
film.
as such. In fact, the true villain was inside Ralph
All along,
towards the end.
Yeah, man.
So at the start of this movie, basically, it's been 6 years in arcade time as well, and Ralph and Vanellope have settled into like a very comfortable relationship with each other. They're best friends. They hang out all the time, and they're both having a great time in their games. But you can clearly see that Vanellope is kind of getting frustrated by the routine. Like she keeps wishing for something new.
Yeah.
So she, like her immediate concern, what she thinks would fix it is if she had a new track in her game, because basically she wants change.
Right.
And Ralph tries to build a new track for her, which ends up breaking the game.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Litwack, the owner of the arcade, has installed Wi-Fi. And basically, Ralph and Vanellope realized that they could go into the internet
Yes.
and find the part to fix Vanellope's game.
Well, basically, yeah, their plan is a little harebrained. It's to go to eBay and buy the part and get it shipped to Litwax's to Litwax's arcade, and and just
From
essentially
inside the internet.
from inside. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's so many ways this movie. I was kind of worried about it when I saw the trailer the first time, because it's such a vast playground. And apparently I was reading this interview also that Disney stated that they didn't want to make the movie about the internet.
Right.
They wanted it to be, like they said, let it be the setting, and that's fine, and you can there's so many Easter eggs, there's so many places to go where the story could have gone. But in the end, it's quite an insular kind of story about like just these two characters and their relationship.
It is about
That's
them.
basically what it is. And the internet is just this insanely colorful, fun playground setting for the story to take
It's a
place.
huge world for them to play in, basically.
Yeah.
And I really like how the internet was used basically as a setting for jokes more than anything
Yeah,
else,
it's like-
and a
yeah.
way for Ralph and Vanellope to kind of do anything they want.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it was nice to see how they visualized the internet in terms.
Yeah.
It's like why it reminded obviously of Inside Out is because they're showing how the brain works and how something that is very like
Non-physical,
biological,
yeah.
non-physical. Yeah, it's like it's not something that, but to visualize it and use your imagination to kind of show how proceedings would happen if it was a physical world that we lived in.
Yeah.
So I think they did a fine job with that of the internet, because I was wondering how they're gonna do a bunch of things, but they've managed to make it like a cityscape and do some really
Yeah.
interesting kind of things. And you're right, most of it is used for jokes, but I think a lot of good points were made. Like there's that one section where he visits a comment section of something that is very similar to YouTube called BuzzTube. Yeah,
yes.
I'm assuming because they didn't get the rights to use YouTube.
I don't entirely get it
because Google is a huge part of that, right? The entire climax happens on the Google Tower.
Yeah, and they also mention YouTube at one point.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe it's because they didn't want to show YouTube and Google as part of the story.
Maybe.
Because YouTube didn't want to be seen as the place where something like that
because
happens.
they had to get a ton of rights, obviously, for this film, including
In fact,
from Lucasfilm. Yeah,
I suspect a lot of it is product placement, like Amazon paid to be put in there, maybe.
Or eBay.
Or eBay,
eBay
for
who's
that
got a
matter.
much bigger role
That's
than
true.
Amazon.
Yeah.
How bizarre is that? by the way?
eBay with an e-boy.
Yeah, with
who
an
I thought
e-boy.
was hilarious.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, just like a chirpy character keeps telling. I was like, "Hey, champ, just want to let you know there's 30 minutes left for your delivery."
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that. So I was reading this other thing where they had to get permission from Star Wars, because Star Wars, even though it's owned by Disney, it's its own beast. You gotta approach that carefully. And apparently there was a scene where they wanted Kylo Ren to be there, and Vanellope just looks at him and goes like, "You're just a spoiled brat," And then they were just like, "Don't do that. It's a little disrespectful. So don't do it because it's a little disrespectful." And I get it. It's like it's a little disrespectful because he's the primary antagonist right now.
Sure.
In the views. You can probably make fun of characters who are like if you said the stormtroopers can't fire and stuff like that, it's fine because it's an old joke and it's fine. But this one's quite current. If they ever had to make this movie 20 years from now and this all happened, then I'm sure Kylo Ren could have been viewed in that way. But since it's pretty close to home right now, I think that's why they
Let me
decided
take this
against
opportunity to digress and ask, have you ever seen the Saturday Night Live sketch of Kylo Ren as undercover boss?
Yeah.
That's basically what this is.
It's true though.
Basically, Kylo Ren goes undercover in the Death Star.
Adam Driver, So funny.
Literally Adam Driver hosting, dressed as a stormtrooper, going like, "Oh, I hear Kylo Ren is awesome."
Yeah, and then it's
everyone
like,
around is
"Nah,
like,
he's a
"Nah, man."
dick."
It's like, "No, I heard he's really cool." That's basically what's happening here.
And I mean, SNL has like a free reign, I suppose. But but this one, I'm sure they had to jump through a lot of like loopholes. Man, we got to see Stan Lee in this one.
Yeah,
it was really
that was a nice moment.
A nice moment.
Out of nowhere.
It's kind of like wasn't expecting that. It was just like, oh man, that's nice.
And that couldn't have been related to his death at all, right? It must have.
It must have just been part of it, like all along. Man, so here's the really messed up part of this timeline, right? I was reading this somewhere that if Wreck-It Ralph goes to the internet and goes to a website called Oh My Disney, or Disney's a corporation, that means all the Disney films are inside a fictional world.
Right.
Yes. Which includes Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
So it's weird that it's a super meta kind of thing where Disney exists in this universe as a company, but they were also made by Disney. So doesn't the first movie also become a product
part of the thing?
Yeah, aren't they just products of a? It's pretty insane.
That is a little complicated. That's reading too much into it.
It is.
Wreck-It Ralph happens in the real world, basically.
No, but Wreck-It Ralph is also a product in that world.
I suppose so.
And them going inside, because basically the story of this thing is that when they finally go to eBay to purchase this thing, they end up outbidding somebody else for that steering wheel for this game by like a huge amount which they don't have, and they have to make money, and they do that by getting YouTube or BuzzTube clicks, monetization of their videos. So Ralph has to go and make a bunch of memeable like videos and things like that so that they can get that steering wheel. And finally, man, where was I going with this? We
went from the meta theory into this, but it's cool. I think this is important to show why BuzzTube exists in the real world. It's because the first thing Ralph learns once he has a viral video with like millions of views is that he's earned like $27.
Yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, that was really good. There are a lot of good, like really smartly written moments, even though this is like a kid's movie, right? Like essentially this is introducing kids to like what it means to be a person, or like this whole movie is about friendship and stuff like that, but it also kind of does that in view of the internet like being a thing these days. So it's pretty cool. It
does bite off a lot, this movie, if you think about it. Like there's a lot to address on the internet in general,
but that's what they said. They didn't want to make it about
exactly
that,
so they sort of go towards it, but they don't get into it fully and come back to the main story of Ralph and Vanellope, which I think on the whole really works.
No, I think they did it tastefully. They didn't do it too. They didn't like get into it too much because it could have been. It's the internet, literally. It's a rabbit hole of just unlimited kind of possibilities, especially when you put it in a story format like this. One thing they used excellently well, something we'll talk about right after this break, is the Disney princesses, which is quite interesting. We'll talk about that right after this break.
Hey, it's been another great week on IVM Podcast. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our Instagram page is actually pretty interesting. The stories we do are the team and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and they're pretty kind of fun. Take a look at them. Let us know what you think. This week on Cyrus's guest is writer and journalist Namita Devi Dayal. She talks about how she got into journalism, her background in Indian classical music, and her upcoming book titled The Sixth String of Vilayat Khan. On The Seen and the Unseen, Amit Verma's guest is a cricket commentator and journalist whose voice most cricket fans can identify. I hope you guessed that it's Harsha Bhogle. He spoke to Amit about the evolution of Indian cricket, its rise, and the changes that he has witnessed over the years. Really, really great episode, and we're really excited to have Harsha on the network. Please definitely check it out. We also launched a brand new show called The Paperback Podcast, hosted by Racheta Sharma and Satyajit Roy. Every week they'll talk to industry experts about 5 of their favorite non-fiction books. The first episode featuring Apurva Damani of Artha Ventures is out on the 5th. On the Rediscovery Podcast final episode of this season, Ambika and Hoshra talk to Pankaj Shah and Sumit Gambhir. They talk food, travel, and the secret ingredients to a decade of managing Indian restaurants. Pankaj and Sumit were also participants in our other show, The Kolaba Cartel, so it'd definitely be a fun conversation and definitely check them out. And with that, let's move on with the shows.
Cool, we're back. We're talking about Wreck-It Ralph 2, or Ralph Breaks the Internet. Great movie. Solid feels. Disney princesses.
Yeah. Man, one of the best sequences of the movie.
Yeah, and even though I saw this, like, this was heavily advertised, right? Like, when to promote this film, they were like, oh, cool, it's going to be all the Disney princesses, just making cameos, etc. And mostly done by the original actresses.
Yeah.
So, even though I had seen a lot of that, promotional stuff, I still really enjoyed the scenes.
It was a really nicely done scene.
Yeah.
That called out a lot of Disney princess tropes.
Which is so weird. Like,
I know.
You find that so strange that they are addressing the very things that they have only kind of made into stereotypes.
It's 2018, man. There's no rules apparently, not even for Disney.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, these are some of the most untouchable properties, so to speak, and just amazingly done. So the sequences, actually, why it works really well is that it's not just them kind of saying, oh, here are Disney princesses, but it was also to kind of like, just deepen like Vanellope's character about how she's like, she can just be this sole individual without another male person in her life, and can just do her own thing.
I think that really works.
Yeah, that worked really well.
That's why the best part of that is when at the start Vanellope is trying to explain that she's a princess as well.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Which technically she is.
Which technically she is a Disney princess. But they ask her a bunch of questions. She's like, no, birds don't like flock and make dresses for me and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they're like, is there a man in your life and he takes credit for everything you do and people love him? And she's like, yes. And they're like, you're a princess.
Yeah, which is so true because the movie is still Wreck-It Ralph, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a franchise, I get it. But this movie is about Vanellope, if not more about her than it is about... I mean, it is kind of like in balance, right? It's like about the two of them.
Yeah, the two of them kind of make some progress in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. But and because of that, the main kind of movement is from... Ralph's perspective. So I guess that's why the movie's called that. But so they kind of talk about that. She makes them clothes, which is so funny because everything that they kind of finally changed from all their princess garbs and all that stuff into like
into sweats
pajama
and
pants. And it's so funny because every one of them has like these Easter eggs. Like she's got Moana has like #shiny written on it.
And
on
a dragon, a Chinese dragon printy thing. Right?
Yeah, so cool. It was awesome. It kind kind of makes me want to watch these versions
There
of
was,
those
in
movies.
fact, even that meta bit where Merida at the end just
So
says something
funny.
in the heaviest Scottish accent, like, lassie. And it's just like, she's from the other studio.
Awesome. So smart, man.
Yeah.
And the only princess we didn't see is Leia, but like I think she may have been there somewhere in the backdrop.
Oh, maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Easter eggs that they just threw in that we missed.
Yeah.
These were what were that were weaved into the story.
Yeah.
So like they stick out.
Man, awesome, dude. And also like having the stormtroopers there and being stormtroopers even there
Yeah.
and like saying you're not supposed to be here. You know?
Yeah.
And they play the entire Imperial March.
Yeah,
and they have
dude.
the score of everything in this, man. The moment
Because
like,
if you're Disney and you own everything, you
Man.
can make fun of it.
that's so cool. They have such a great right to do all this stuff. I thought that was really
It's good that
it's
they
a good
don't-
outing.
Yeah, they're using their monopoly power well.
Yeah, man.
At least for now.
Man, imagine. This is essentially like the biggest advertisement for like Disney Plus, the streaming service.
That's true. If nothing, this covers it.
Yeah, because I think so. Oh My Disney is an actual website and all that stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was like a. Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, it was actually supposed to be
An actual Disney fan site?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but so they were actually supposed to make it Disney Infinity, which is a game which I've played. It's like it's like a sandbox kind of game,
Right.
which you can use all the characters from all the franchises, Marvel, Pixar, everything, right? And but Disney Infinity got cancelled while this was in production, so then they just changed it to Oh My Disney.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty crazy.
So yeah, the Disney sequence was one highlight. Let's. You want to go over some of the other great moments from this? One of them, again, is the primary setting for a large part of the movie is a game called what race?
Slaughter Race.
Slaughter Race.
which is,
Yeah. I was going to say Death Race, which is the movie.
Which is kind of like that. It's like a Twisted Metal kind of reference.
Yeah, I felt like it was a GTA type because
Yeah.
of the grade.
Correct. The
Which is
grey-
basically this like smoggy yellow
Yeah.
atmosphere all the
really
time.
awesomely done.
Which is
and let's talk about Gal Gadot's character. Gal Gadot
Shank, as she's
in
called.
an animated film. Cool.
Yeah.
Super
Huh.
cool. How did that happen?
Yeah, the most like basically a woke badass.
Yeah,
is
pretty
her
much.
role.
Yeah.
But again, if anything, you would think she'd be the first antagonist, but she's not.
Yeah, everyone who I thought might be an antagonist, like her, then Taraji P. Henson plays this BuzzTube algorithm.
They're all just nice people.
They're all just good people.
So that's when you can immediately tell that this is a fictionalized version of the internet.
True. Well, let's put it this way: the machines are never bad.
I guess so. They're just used for bad by people.
Yeah, just used by
And
bad people.
Shank, Gal Gadot's character, is a part of the game and not a real world person playing
Yeah.
Shank. So, yeah, Ralph and Vanellope meet Shank when they try to steal her car.
Yeah.
And amazingly, she
Man.
not only isn't like murdering them for it in a game full of murder, but also is just really impressed by Vanellope and says, come hang out anytime.
But that's the objective of the game, right? Is to try and get all these complete these different
Yeah.
races, etc. What I found so funny was that, one of the big things is when they buy this thing on eBay and they can't afford to pay for it and they have to pay for it within a deadline of 24 hours.
Yeah.
They have to go and find one of these spam guys whose name is Spamly. Who says, who comes up, it's like, you can get paid to play video games.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah,
That's
they're like
genius.
they just walk around and like, hey, you want to make money playing video
Yeah.
games? They're like,
And-
weight loss.
Yeah, it's so funny. And they do this, and it was like loot hunting, which is
Yeah.
something that is actually so prevalent in the gaming, universe. Like a lot of people, all they do is find like really rare kind of loot basically in games, like swords and this and that, and you can sell it to other people who want it for actual money.
Yeah.
And that's how some of my friends actually make money. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. You can actually do that, especially in games like in Dota or Skyrim or whatever.
Where
Elder
there's
Scrolls and
items
stuff.
to be collected, basically.
Exactly, huge RPGs where which are really rare and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, and it was
And
so bizarre.
That was the first task they were sent on.
Yeah, it was so cool because it was like very current, and yeah, I just found that to be quite awesome.
And I thought the way that
They
was
handled that
Bill
office.
Hader, right? And he was so funny the way he played it. He basically just played it like the smarmy car salesman kind
Yeah,
of guy.
exactly. It's so
who's
good.
like really nice,
Yeah.
but also clearly very shady.
Yeah, really shady. He knows that he's a shady guy.
Yeah, in
But
like
still
a
nice,
sweet
though.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, just a nice guy. Even the pop-up ads were nice.
Yeah,
So,
so-
not the real internet. But that did... The eBay sequence I found so hilarious, where basically they find the eBay auction for the steering wheel. And there's one other guy bidding for it.
Just one
and
other, yeah.
they misunderstand the auction as a game where you have to just shout out
A
numbers.
number, a higher number.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
There's this amazing line reading John C. Reilly has where this guy, like, so the real world player goes like 10,000, meaning $10,000, and these guys go like 11,000. Then the other guy goes like 15,000, and John C. Reilly is just like, man, this guy's good. He's just throwing out numbers like they're nothing.
It's so good, man. So funny. Yeah. So I love that sequence. I love the whole Shanks. The slaughter race was pretty cool.
I like the world of Slaughter Race again. It reminded me a lot of like the sharks in Finding Nemo, where they're just these like really nice, friendly people.
Yeah.
But they seem like villains because
like
of
the
their
moment
exterior.
they taste blood.
Yeah.
I want to talk about two of my favorite things about this film. Obviously, it's like the main themes of this film, which is very little on the nose for the younger audiences, but things about how friendships need to be less insecure about both parties involved and stuff. And so the whole plot really revolves around Ralph not wanting to lose Vanellope as a friend to another place. It's like what happens when friends move towns or shift away or do something that they like, move cities and things like that. And it's actually a really strong message, because I was like, man, it's good old fashioned friendship is back in vogue in this film.
Yeah,
because like most movies, so the guy who co-directed this film was the guy who co-wrote Zootopia, which is another movie which did like prejudice and racism, but in a very easy, palatable kind of way.
Yeah.
Through animals and using animals as that kind of core metaphor. Here they used so this guy directed this. I mean. And uses the internet and like viruses and things like that as this kind of like really like over the top metaphor of how you should not have these kind of insecurities for when your friends kind of want to do things that are different from your own personal kind of dreams and goals. So I thought that main theme is obviously what makes up this more or less the last third of the film almost. It's like until then I was just like, oh, this is just a fun ride.
It was fun until then and light. But then it kind of starts to get pretty feelsy.
But I'm fine with it. I mean, like, they did it, like, absolutely fine. Very Agent Smithy kind of fight scene at the end. And, it was all fine by me. I thought it was fine. They needed a big kind of sequence at the end. And it was quite powerful, man. Like, I think, like, because it's such an elemental, such a basic kind of theme that how do you do that well? And that's what I've loved about these films and Pixar, what they've done. Is there's always a core kind of message there somewhere, like really, and kind of is there throughout the DNA of the film. Movies like Big Hero 6 didn't really work for me because it didn't have that as powerful. It was still mostly an action film. Mm-hmm. But this one has like all of that. It doesn't have really an antagonist or anything. It's just a movie about two friends and like how they kind of have to decide what the next stage of their friendship is. It's like amazing. And I thought that was really, really cool.
Do you think once again our thesis that all Pixar movies deal with loss of innocence and
I think so
the fear of being forgotten?
Yeah,
literally that, right? Like so Ralph is worried Vanellope will move away,
correct,
and forget about him.
Yes. It's heartbreaking actually.
Which is heartbreaking.
There's that one scene where he goes to she breaks this little cookie heart which she's made from saying "You're my hero" in the first film. Yeah. And it kind of falls into the wasteland of the internet. Have you seen that? There was like GeoCities and things like that in that. It was pretty funny. Apparently there's like a Netscape navigator. The same
place Bing Bong went to.
Exactly.
In Inside Out.
That's what, Man, it's very similar to that.
Do you think they just reused a lot of the rendered backgrounds from Inside Out and went like, "Chalo, take that one only"?
It reminded me a lot of like even for WALL-E, like the entire the Axioms ship. It kind of reminded me a lot of that kind of setting. But still, man, they managed to do something. I think Disney's thing is to now not do kind of what Pixar is doing. Obviously, they have that vibe, but like Disney's thing is to now take bigger themes in the world. Mm-hmm. Like being insecure or, like insecurity or like personal demons and things that come and haunt you. Or, say prejudice and things like that. And then convert them into really, really family-friendly films, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why the first film, it was good.
So I feel like this is the Pixar influence though, right? Like you see Pixar has done that for the longest time, like with WALL-E for example. Exactly. Environmentalism becoming like a palatable family thing.
Awesome.
Is like very similar. So basically Disney, I feel like that the Renaissance that we spoke of earlier has kind of come from taking a cue from Pixar.
Yeah.
And adapting the Disney house style, because it's still very much a classic Disney movie, but
Yeah.
adapting that house style to a more modern
I just think,
style.
I think this one's a rare film in terms of, because of where it's set and there's so much meta, stuff happening in it. It's a fairly rare one. You won't get this exact same ever again. No one has the opportunity to write this kind of story, but by the very nature of where Ralph lives, which is in a technological environment.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes possible for them to kind of try the story out, also be meta. So I think that this makes this film quite rare. In fact, it's done really well also at the box office, and I think people are responding really well to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I can't wait
Surprisingly,
for Ralph,
it didn't do. I don't know how it's doing in India yet because it's just released, but we watched it to an almost empty theater yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was disappointing. I feel like more people
Because
should watch this movie.
Kids movie, they're going to watch on the weekends or
Okay.
during the mornings.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
but
went
everyone
at
should
8
watch this
o'clock.
movie.
Everyone should watch it.
I mean,
that's
like,
what I hate about
I learned some things.
That's true. No, seriously, like you think about that a lot, man. Yeah, and I just can't wait for Ralph. Grows a blockchain or whatever's next move.
Ralph in the blockchain.
Ralph in the blockchain, or Ralph goes crypto. Something like that. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Yeah,
and we will come. Huh?
Let's talk. So here's what I propose. We come back. We talk about Disney's. Where Disney is in this space, in contrast to their live action films now, which they're doing.
Ooh, interesting. Cool. Let's do that. Also, I want to talk about 3 major highlights. Okay?
Okay, cool. Yeah, done.
Remind me of all 3 after this break.
Okay.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do, and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that the insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.
Hey, we're back. We're discussing some of Tejas' stuff and some of my stuff. Now, Tejas, I had 3 things.
Man,
Hey.
also before you say that, we missed the second of the post-credits sequences.
There were 2 post-credit
There
sequences?
was there's a mid-credits one and there's a post-credits one.
Ah,
And I
man.
apparently missed one, and I don't know what it is.
Would it be setting up a sequel of some sort?
No, I think it was just like a joke.
Like a
kind of
jokey thing?
Yeah.
So was the post-credit sequence that we saw, the mid-credit
The
sequence.
mid-credit sequence is the one that they used again to advertise the film, which was actually really smartly done because
Yeah.
they just used it as a way to address that exact same problem, that it was not in the movie and that it's in the
Yeah.
it's the whole
Yeah, this kid goes like, well, there was a scene that was in the trailer,
Yeah.
but it wasn't in the movie.
yeah, and then yeah. All right, cool. I know what your first highlight is. By the way.
Tell us.
Is it the 2 kids who are playing Sugar Rush in the beginning?
Oh yeah, of course. One of whom is
Swati and Nafisa.
Yeah, so let's be
alright,
clear.
Swati.
This entire movie is Swati's fault.
Yeah.
A young Indian American kid
Isn't it
called
always?
Swati breaks the
Swati-
game.
Swati
And then-
breaks the game is
Swati
her-
breaks the game is another thing. But in classic Indian kid fashion, she goes like, Mr. Litwack, I broke the machine. Huh? As opposed to any like American kid who just like throw the thing behind the machine and go like, I'm out, dude.
Yeah.
She's like, Mr. Litwack, I'm so sorry. I
Like,
turned the steering wheel
order
too
on
hard.
eBay. Yeah.
No, one of the biggest highlights I want to talk about
Yes.
is the Disney song in
That's
the
I
middle
was
of
gonna-
the movie,
yeah.
inside the game.
What a free gift from Alan Menken
I
to
know.
all of us.
So when the song played, I figured it's someone doing a really, really good Alan Menken. Because I was like, Alan Menken wouldn't do that.
Alan
like parody
Menken
himself this much.
has a
but it's
house,
him.
has a room in the Disney castle. All right?
Yeah.
He is Mr. Disney. He has crafted the sound of like so many movies that we love, that like this song was literally a full circle. It's him making fun of that type of song.
Yeah,
it's like a satire
but
Disney song.
while also making a great
killer
song.
Disney song,
So this sequence is set off. It's set up earlier during the princess sequence where Vanellope meets all the other
By
Disney
the way,
princesses.
had no idea that was a common
they
factor in all
called out
these
one
things.
of the things that even we have never noticed, even though we love all those songs, which is that a Disney princess always sings a deep inner reflection song when she looks into water.
Or has the like a body of water as an important factor in this.
Yeah,
which is
And
insane.
I love when Vanellope asks, like, so if I just look into water, I can sing my heart's desires, and they go like, no, important water.
Yeah, important water.
like Mulan looking into a horse trough,
trough,
or Ariel looking into the ocean.
I mean, she's in
Oh, Moana looking into the ocean, I suppose, and
Moana,
Ariel.
yeah, but all of them, man.
Everyone
it's
looks into important water, basically.
crazy. The only one we missed was, I guess Nala was not there, or were there any princesses that were not there? But she's a Disney
Yeah,
princess,
but
technically,
she
because he's
was-
the king. He's the Lion King.
True, she's technically a Disney princess. You're right.
Technically, she's a Disney queen.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
wasn't a princess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she just directly went to Queen. You're
Boom.
right.
That's how
why
you-
she
that's
wasn't
how you
there.
do.
We had the Princess and the Frog Girl, whose name I forget. Tiana, correct.
Yeah. Which actually there was a bit of controversy for.
What?
In the trailers, her skin was not dark enough.
Shut up.
And her nose was made smaller, and so after that, that's when the movie looks a little different from when she was in the trailer. She's like more like darker toned, and her nose is slightly bigger, like how she was in the original film.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm glad they just addressed it. They were like, yeah, cool, fair enough.
And they fixed it.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay. Fair
Easy,
enough.
yeah.
But yeah, this song that we speak of
Yeah.
is great because essentially Vanellope sings her desire, which is that she wants to break out into a new world
and go
but
into slaughter race basically.
go into slaughter race, but also not leave Ralph behind.
Yeah.
And she sings about this inside slaughter race. So behind her, there's like crazy clowns and like
So we
cars
have-
burning up.
We have the rarest of rare Disney princess songs, which is sung by Sarah Silverman and Gal
Yeah.
Gadot, which is bizarre.
I know.
And amazing also at the
Two
same time.
decidedly non-singers
Yeah.
doing a great job.
Yeah, great job. Awesome.
Yeah, it's just hilariously done, but
Yeah.
also really touching at the same time.
Yeah. Amazing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
like a great song, and that song incorporates themes. Man, what I loved about like also the princesses is that they used so many Easter eggs in their conversation. Like even Moana saying "You're welcome" and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was just brilliant, man. Like I found like it for me, like for us Disney fans, it was just like, oh my god, this is so good.
Yeah.
Like this is so awesome. But yeah, so that was okay. So that's one of your three.
Now I've forgotten the other two.
Oh,
I
God.
told you I have three and I have to remember all three.
I told you asked me to make you remember them.
I know the second one,
Okay,
which is
let's
not a
go.
major highlight, but
Go
it's
for
like
it.
a super inside jokey thing, which is that Jason Mantzoukas is in this movie. I forget where exactly, in a very small part.
Okay.
Playing a character called Hey Nong Man, which is a super, super deep cut Easter egg reference to a podcast that I listen to
Correct.
called Comedy Bang
Bang
Bang.
Bang, yeah, of course, yeah,
hosted by Scott Ackerman,
Yeah.
who also hosts You Talk and You to
Correct,
Me.
yeah.
With which Jishnu
Adam
is, of course,
Scott.
a super fan of,
Yeah.
along with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. I just want to mention that.
Dude,
Throw
he's
that
awesome.
out there.
Love Jason Mantzoukas.
Jason Mantzoukas is
He's
great.
He's so funny. My God.
I didn't have a third highlight, but chalo, you tell me yours.
I just
Real life Disney versus animated Disney in the current day and age.
okay. Let's talk about that. You saw this Lion King trailer which came out,
I did see this Lion King trailer
and
which
now
came
they've
out.
come out with Dumbo, and now they're also doing Aladdin.
Yes.
So there's a lot of that. Jungle Book is obviously super hit. They're just making all these films again.
There's Mowgli also.
No, well,
Well, that's not Disney, but sure.
yeah, but sure, you know.
Yeah.
And I just
So remaking classics as live action, and I'm not going to bother making the air quotes, but I'll say air quotes live action.
Correct.
Because Lion King is not live action.
it's not at all live
Everyone's
action.
animated.
Everything is animated.
I
There's
will
a single
still allow
un-
you to say Jungle Book was live action because
Because
there was
there's
one
one
live
boy.
action kid. It's really not.
And they shot also like
Sure.
actual footage.
But Lion King is just animated. Right? It's all
Absolutely.
CGI.
Unless there's a dude in it. No, but they wouldn't do that. So, so completely CGI. CGI, they're redoing these films for newer generations.
Mm-hmm.
Why though? See, this is, and I know the answer. The answer is because Disney can do whatever they want. They're
And for
just
the bucks.
Well, sure, the bucks are hardly important to them. Like they
maybe.
they have enough money to do whatever they want.
For the cultural cachet,
Or is this the cash cow that makes them do movies like Wreck-It Ralph 2, etc.?
maybe. That might be part of it. Okay, I have a thesis that I just came up with.
Give me.
Which is that maybe kids today, it's not as easy as it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago to create something that's as big in the monoculture. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, to make it trending again.
yeah, but like trending in everybody's life. Like, you know how big Michael Jackson was?
There will never be another thing like
Exactly,
Michael Jackson.
because at that time, before the internet and before basically you could kind of find your own little niche of culture,
Yes.
everyone would watch TV where you
Correct.
had the same like
Mass
30 or
culture,
40
yeah.
channels, as opposed to
Singular
now
culture, yeah.
where you can spend like literally an entire night just watching knife making videos on YouTube,
Correct.
which I have done.
Yes.
So yeah, you can.
You've seen the one which he makes it, the guy that Anthony Bourdain goes to, he makes it from a
Yes.
meteorite.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
It's insane.
Amazing.
Insane.
I love especially the demos of how sharp the
sh-
knife is.
crazy.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
But you see, it's easy to get lost into your own little niche like this.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder to create a cultural behemoth like it was back in the day. Like Lion King is so big. Anybody knows the Lion King
Story.
music.
Yeah, the
Or,
music.
like, I mean, the story, sure, because it's Hamlet.
Yeah.
But also, like, you could sing like Circle of Life
Oh,
or
I Just Wanna Be
Hakuna
King,
Matata,
Hakuna
and
Matata,
everyone
yeah.
knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I Just Want to Be King. Like, Baba Sehgal had a Hakuna Matata in India. Everyone knows that song.
This is true, yeah.
That's not as easy to do. Like, maybe the most recent thing that did it was a Frozen, which
Yeah.
came out of nowhere.
But okay, correct. I agree. So to have a singular cultural kind of phenomena.
It's a lot harder to create it from scratch today, so they're kind of bringing back the ones they already have.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. That's not. Yeah, but they can do it again, dude. They can do it
They
again.
can.
There is a singular culture in the Marvel movies, man. They have like Avengers is a freaking like it is a behemoth. It is
Yeah.
it's such a force to reckon with.
But it's an existing
bigger
property
than Star
at the end
Wars.
of the day, right? It's the same reason why you see a lot fewer original stories anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's why they brought back Star Wars, if you think about it. You can't, it's not that easy to create a brand new Star Wars from scratch today.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
They
comes
did it.
close.
They did it. They actually did it though.
It's possible, but I suppose...
Because again, these are the most like basic core stories that you can't with basically. That's the thing, right? Like you can't remake Lord of the Rings unless you make it edgy and dark and kill everyone and call it Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Right? You can't make Star Wars again unless you make it dark and edgy and kill off everyone, and which is what Star Wars is now.
Yeah. Or like how Jungle Book was basically a much darker version of that Kid Z story.
And now we're going to get an even darker version.
Yeah, but like we were talking yesterday,
Yeah.
I feel like remaking Jungle Book still made sense because the old movie is still really
It's
old.
really old. It's like in the
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah,
But what's
so
wrong
even
with
like...
watching a classic? I mean, it's like nobody's remaking Casablanca or like... I mean, there's a reason why you can't ever have the same effect as like a rear window or like, you know, like a classic Hitchcock film. It won't make sense like now. Star Wars still, like, and I just watched Star Wars 4 and 5 yesterday, okay? Because my friend Akash, who used to work at BuzzFeed, he's like, dude, he's going to greener pastures, and he's like, dude, I gotta watch
BuzzTube or what?
a thing, one of the things. So he's like, I really need to watch Star Wars now. And I was like, okay, cool. Understand that you're not going to find it as impressive as anything because now we're saturated with science fiction, better told stories or better visuals.
Executed.
Better
probably,
executed.
yes.
No, and whatever it is. And but you have to understand the cultural footprint that it had at that point. And, you know, it's like it's so like long lasting that we still like the biggest company in the world today is what it is because it's bought properties like Star Wars into the fold.
Yeah.
So we saw it and I was watching it and I was like, yeah, it's a classic, but you can't remake the classics. Like you can do a Force Awakens, which is essentially the same story.
Yes.
But it'll never be the damn same thing as watching Darth Vader enter that frame and
That's
be
true.
like. And so my point is, even in Lion King, which is like a movie that's not that far back. I mean, yeah, it happened 1994, 3, something like that.
Mid-90s.
And it's only been 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can still watch The Lion King.
Yeah, and it
it's
looks fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like with the remaster that they
The
did.
HD, HD print of it. So then why?
Yeah, exactly. Again, like Jungle Book, if you watch Jungle Book now, even like a really nice print of it, there's this slow pace and rhythm to it.
But I like that.
I also like it. I
Yeah.
love it. But you hear a dialogue, like everyone talks like they're slightly drugged.
They must have been high
They
as
must have-
hell.
Of
when they did
course.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Harris
How
is
else would
here.
they come up with the idea of like, when we make these vultures the Beatles?
Oh, check it out. No, get it? Bare necessities.
It's like,
Am
no,
I
no,
right?
no, you're not getting it. It's like
Bare
bare necessities. Or like
Oh,
that
man.
part during I Want to Be Like You, where Balu is watching the guy perform and he wants to like go in and stop this nonsense. But it's like, but man, what a beat. It's like, Balu's so clearly a stoner.
Yeah, Baloo is a stoner, yeah.
And then he just like starts grooving and
Yeah,
bounces away. Man, what
Yeah.
a beat. But yeah, so I can see remaking The Jungle Book to have like a modern zippy energy because you need to grab kids' attention. But Lion King is clearly just saying, hey, everyone who watched Lion King as a kid, they
Now watch
can
it
pay
again.
money now. So
Again, it's like, thanks for doing this, man. Like, thanks for making it again
Man,
for us,
gonna
Disney.
go watch it?
Of course,
Gonna
I'm
cry?
gonna watch the shit out of it. We all know this is gonna happen. So why are we really complaining?
I don't know.
We just think that maybe, I think it's because, we're such indie boys and girls that, we always find the resourcing of, like, the allocation of resources to be like, sometimes like, you could take this money, which is going to be like something short of $1 billion, which you're going to use ultimately on PR and the cost of production, etc. And the act and the cast, holy shit. And make the new Lion King. Or have all the stories been told?
No, I mean, see, there's Hamlet, which has been told. But I'm sure you could find
Are there
other
only so
classic
many
Shakespeare
stories?
stories. Yeah, there is that famous book about how there are, 27 stories
Yeah,
or something like that?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Something that Dan Harmon, makes all his
correct,
episodes
his
around.
story circle
Circles, yeah,
thingy.
yeah.
Sure, the hero's journey business, but
Yeah.
whatever, I don't know.
That's what Disney always brings me back to, this idea that, like, it's something about very core storytelling that they have nailed. Over decades, they've refined this process, which is why they're so good at it. But it's just like, what are you gonna show us that is... And Wreck-It Ralph is a great film. Like, Ralph Breaks the Internet is a great film.
Yeah.
It's very topical. It's very poignant also in parts. So I'm all for it. But then when they do newer things with it. But when they take the older ones and then redo them, I just always, have a...
Yeah, there's a slight
Yeah, just like...
why is this happening question
Yeah.
to it.
Are there
Like,
no
I
more
feel like
stories?
maybe a Tim Burton doing Dumbo could bring a really unique
Yeah,
take to
that's
it.
cool because, I mean, it's not like Jon Favreau is any less. Like, but
True.
as the trailer says, from visionary
Yeah.
Tim Burton.
Exactly. Tim Burton's a visionary. Jon Favreau in Jungle Book did a great job,
He
but
did the Jungle Book.
essentially he remade it. If they made the Jungle Book today, that's how they would have
Which
made
is
it.
why I think that's why he's obviously the perfect candidate for Lion King. You don't want a Tim Burton's Lion King.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I do, but like, I just want Be Prepared to be even creepier.
Where Mufasa is played by Johnny Depp, and it's just like,
recast this as Tim Burton.
Everything that touches,
Yeah.
it's yours.
Won't we just die?
Oh my god. Tim Burton's Lion King. Mufasa falls off the
Alright,
cliff,
cool. Here's my
and as
cast.
he's falling, he goes like, "Why don't we just die a little bit?"
Anyway, here's
And
Johnny
Simba
Depp
at
would-
the top is going like,
okay.
"What the f-?
Here's the cast. Johnny Depp doesn't play Mufasa; he plays Scar.
Oh,
Okay?
nice."
Michael Keaton plays
Jeremy
Mufasa.
Irons plays Scar, so Johnny Depp is a good replacement.
Correct. And Michael Keaton plays Mufasa. Okay.
Interesting.
Correct. Because you can't have a movie without Beetlejuice in Tim Burton's world. All right. Then
Helena Bonham Carter?
of course, plays Sarabi.
Of course.
Has to play Sarabi.
Done.
Simba is the real question.
Who would play Simba? Who's
I
Tim
got it.
Burton's young muse?
That guy, what's his name? Freddie Highmore, who played Charlie Bucket.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that could work. Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we are getting a childish Gambino Simba, though. So,
And a Beyonce Nala,
yeah.
which is like, what? Is it just to make that version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight so sick?
Oh.
It's the Elton John Beyonce like collab that we didn't know we were getting, and it might happen.
Oh my god, do you think the Elton, do you think Can You Feel the Love Tonight will have like a trappish breakdown? Halfway through, it's like,
No,
ladies,
but
I said, hey!
oh man. This is Africa. Oh man! But here's my thing, though.
That's
do you
Shakira.
say in the this is at the end, the final slate, which has all the credits and stuff, says music and score composed by whatever Elton John and Tim Rice. So those songs, I don't know. Be Prepared apparently is not going to be there, but like
Okay.
I think some of them will be there.
I'm sure at least some of them will be there.
A Hakuna has to be there.
Like how they did Wanna Be Like You in the Jungle Book, right? Like a weird, darkish version.
A Christopher Walken
A Christopher
version.
Walken version.
Yeah, I'm walking here. All right. Easy now.
Yeah,
Let this not become a crime of Grindelwald. Let us know what you think about these Disney films becoming Disney films all over again.
Yeah, sure.
And they have some actual live action films, which are like what?
Like what? Is what Jumanji? Is it Disney?
No, it was not Disney.
Oh.
Saving Mr. Banks, things like that.
Okay, yeah, sure. All right.
Mary Poppins, which is coming out now.
Correct, of course.
Christopher Robin, oh my god, love that movie.
Right.
So good. But yeah, so I like those films. Those are good films actually. Did you watch Christopher Robin?
I haven't.
Man,
no.
you gotta.
I will.
You know what the movie is? It's about doing nothing and how that's a very valuable thing to do.
Oh, cool. Sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a line from it which is quite used in all the trailers, which is like people say people say that you'll end up doing nothing or something, but I do nothing every day and it's amazing. So it's what Winnie the Pooh says. Yeah.
Nice.
So and basically that movie is the nothing you should do. It's like the break that you should take from work or life. It's just 2 hours there. It's like the kind of nothingness that you should do.
Nice.
It's awesome. It's really cool. It's a very simple story. It's really nice. But yeah, Ewan McGregor, Agent Carter, Haley Atwell's there in it. So yeah, it's good cast. Everyone's good. Brad Garrett.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, man. So they have some of the live action films. They're good. But I think and the animation stuff is good. Just this, we have to see now.
There's some.
They've only done one of these, like Jungle Book, right?
So far, though, there's big plans, I suppose.
Oh, they did Beauty and the Beast as well.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Which was precisely that.
Are we going to hit diminishing returns with this at some point? Is the cue?
Well, unless the stories aren't as good as they need to be these days. Like Beauty and the Beast added no layers.
No, it didn't.
That it could have had.
So maybe, who knows, we might be saying the same thing about Lion King soon.
Man, I hope that they add layers. But
they will add a layer of trap hats.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Trap hat Lion King. Yeah. All right. That's our show. Let us know what you think. Reach out to us. Contact geekfruit@gmail.com is our email address. You can find us on all social media. Geekfruit HQ on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Thank you, Dinkar.
Thank you, Tejas.
See ya, you nerds.
Yeah. It's IVM here, let's go. We the IVM kids on the block over here. Just to talk, taking a break from producing all day. Coming on this podcast cause we got stuff to say. IVM Daily is the name of the show. Monday to Friday, we ready to go. Talking about stuff in our head. We might even talk about our favorite bread. Signing out, it's IVM here, the podcast network that's in your ear.
Catch IVM Daily, Monday to Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to attempt number 15 to record the promo for the podcast Vartalab.
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 Vartalab. Vartalab.
All day, all night, Vartalab.
Oh yeah.
It's a really nice podcast, guys. It's with me and Naveen, and it has really nice stories.
Yeah, people come tell their stories, ups and downs, fun times. We all cry at the end. It's like a Karan Johar movie, but in 1 hour or less.
Yay.
Yeah, every Monday. Yeah.
It's got you.